All right, here we go. So this is where we are going to take our very quick notes today, as well as go over these answers, okay? This is a U-shaped graph. What is the appropriate name for a U-shaped graph? A quadratic, very good. So name of graph would be a quadratic. I promise you have to know these names. Your test will give you about 4 or 5 graphs, and you have to name each one of them. Okay? An x-intercept, listen to my question carefully. What is an x-intercept? Not what's my answer. What is an x-intercept? Very good. Where my line touches the x-axis. If you don't know that, then write it down. An x-intercept is where it touches the x-axis. How many times does this graph touch the x-axis? Twice. What is this x-intercept right here? -1, 0. Perfect answer. I need it written as a point. Not -1, not x equals -1. -1, 0. Where is my second x-intercept? Max, where is my second x-intercept? 3, 0. Very good. Questions? Y'all stop and ask. We're going to rock and roll unless somebody stops me. Okay? Samuel, how do I find a y-intercept? Touches the y-axis. So far everybody says crosses. Does it have to cross through, or can it stop and just touch it? It can stop and touch it, so make sure you know that too, okay? So touches the y-axis. Charlotte, how many y-intercepts do I have? 1, and what is it, my dear? So 0, 3 was closer, but what type of 3 is it? -3. So 0, -3. Okay? Solutions. This might be a new word for us. Solutions are also called zeros, roots, and x-intercepts. All 3 or all 4. Solutions, zeros, roots, and x-intercepts. Now, here's the thing. A solution has to be written a specific way. So, this is your x-intercept. However, it is just written x equals a number, not a point. Solution, like an answer. X is something. Okay? So, if my first x-intercept is -1, 0, D, how do you think we're going to write our first solution?
I can't see.
Then move.
I need my glasses on.
Oh, that's a good choice too. KK, how do you think we're going to write our first solution? X equals -1. Perfect answer. Anybody else yell out my second one?
X equals -3, just 3.
X equals 3. Or just 3. Very good, Hannah. All right.
Wait, so
Yes, sir.
what exactly is
The solution is your x-intercept, but it has to be written as x equals. They are the exact same thing, exact same location. Okay? It's just how it's written. Good question. All right, a vertex. Maverick, what is a vertex? Can you guess? Do you have any idea what a vertex is?
Well, since solution, find the x-intercept and assuming the vertex.
Good try. Miss Kane?
So on this one, it would be the lowest point.
Okay, how did you get there?
I took out break reason.
Well, good answer. A vertex is where 2 lines meet. It is a point where 2 lines meet. So I have 2 lines and they meet at this lowest point. So this right here is my vertex. What is that point? 1, negative 4. Very good. 1, negative 4. Axis of symmetry. Tiana, do you know what an axis of symmetry is? Let's break it down. What's an axis? An X or Y. So a line. What does symmetry mean? Something symmetrical. You know what that means? Similar or the same. So an axis of symmetry is a line that cuts the graph in half. Perfectly cuts the graph in half. Okay? So if I want to cut my graph in half, what point does it have to cross through? The vertex. So watch here. I'm going to draw my axis of symmetry. Cuts through my vertex. What do you think happens if I have no vertex? Is there an axis of symmetry?
No.
Probably not. Okay? Now, a line is an equation. It either starts with x equals or y equals. How do you know what letter this starts with?
Because it's in both. Oh, no.
Depends on if the line is vertical or not vertical. Yeah, vertical or horizontal.
Okay, so here's the easy way. When I drew this blue line, what axis did I cut in half? So this has to start with x. What number on the x-axis did I cut? So x equals 1. Okay? So if I cut the x-axis, it starts with x. If I cut the y-axis, it starts with y. Okay? All right, 2 more. An asymptote. This is probably a new word. I'd really write this one down. An asymptote, first thing you need to know, is only on an L-shaped graph. If your graph is not an L shape, you do not have one. Now, when I say L shape, I mean any L. Okay? So, I'm going to write on the back. You don't have to write this down, but just watch. It can be an L shape this way, an L shape this way, an L shape this way. Which one am I missing? And an L. No, I have that one. Yes, like this. There we go. Okay? It can be any shape, direction, as long as it is an L. What is an asymptote? An asymptote is a line your graph never touches. We will learn about this in March. Right now, all you need to know is an asymptote is only on an L-shaped graph. Is this an L-shaped graph?
No.
So do I have an asymptote?
No.
So I would write none. Do not leave an answer blank. If you leave it blank, that tells me you don't know it, so it's counted wrong. Okay? Write the word none. Last one, and this is where your colored pencil is, and the one that's usually the most challenging because we forget how to do it. So make sure you're watching. Okay? Let me get some other colors here. All right. Maximum. Let's break it down. What does maximum mean? The most, the highest, the largest. What if it said minimum? What would that mean? The lowest, the smallest, furthest down on my graph. Okay? So maximum, or it could say minimum, is the highest. I'm going to put / lowest because sometimes you'll get asked for the minimum. Okay? On an interval. What's an interval? I'm sorry? It's not a point, but an interval is just a specific location. I'm not asking you to look at this entire graph. I'm asking you to look on a specific location. This right here is the location, my X location. So watch what I do. I'm going to take something colorful, and I'm going to go at x is -1. And I'm going to draw a line all the way up and down my -1. You'll get to practice this in just a minute. And then I'm going to go to +4, and I'm going to draw a line all the way up and down my +4. Interval. I care about inside those lines. So all I care about is this part right here that I'm highlighting yellow. I don't care about anything outside those lines. So in my yellow highlighter, where is the highest, what's the maximum my graph can go? 4, 5. So right here would be my maximum. Now, you have two choices. I can just write the answer 5 because that's my y value, or you can write it as a point, 4, 5, either one. What if I would have asked you for the minimum? What would my answer have been between -1 and 4? 1, -4. So I could have put -4 or 1, -4, and I'll write it on here. This just happened to be my vertex, but this is also my minimum. Are there questions? Okay. It's a lot to get done, but it should start coming back to our brain pretty quickly. So here's what's going to happen today. You have this piece of paper in front of you, this graph, 8 graphs. There is 0 reason that you cannot get almost every single one of these done, okay? So these are my 8 graphs. You need the function name. If you look in the back of my classroom, I have almost all 8 graphs back there, okay? Now, listen to how things work in class. Let me stop recording since we're not on notes anymore.